the preservative effectiveness to the corneal epithelial cell toxicity is that you can see the concentration of the BAK, which is not higher than 20 microgram, gonna cause less corneal epithelial cell toxicity. But if the BAK that is higher than 50 milligram, gonna cause the corneal epithelial cells toxicity more. And of course, it's gonna give you the high preservative effectiveness. So we want the one that still have efficacy of the preservative and also have the least corneal epithelial toxicity of the cells. So it seems like the concentration of the 10 microgram of the BAK may be the best. Why don't we choose the less, like 3 microgram? Because 3 microgram of the BAK still not control the E. coli infection rates. So that may cause the antimicrobial efficacy of the medication worse. That's why we have to use the BAK that is higher than 50 microgram. So this one that we are using for the new product in the trafrutan or the tafropros is the 10 microgram of the BAK. So it seems to still have antimicrobial efficacy and still maintain the effect of the preservative. So this one is the effect of the tafropros on the human culture corneal epithelial cells. Of course, without the BAK, it's going to be the least of the toxicity. But with the concentration of the BAK just only 10 microgram, it seems like the efficacy, the effect of that medication on the human culture corneal epithelial cells is about the same as without preservative. So the least is the best. But we need the middle, right? We need the preservative that is still effective for maintain the function of the medication, long-term use, and also increase the aqueous inflow to lowering the intraocular pressure. This one is to prove us, is there any epithelial cells, the corneal epithelial cells damaged or not, by using the transepithelial electric resistance in vivo. This one compare the BAK concentration, which less than 20 microgram of BAK gonna have less or no exert cell toxicity. But if the BAK concentration more than 50 microgram, it will be significantly more toxic. And also, this is the change of the concentration of the BAK and changing of the corneal toxicity by the test that we use. And it confirmed that less than 20 microgram of the BAK still preserve the function of the cells. Also, lots of you, also me, myself, at the first time that I see that this medication has very least BAK concentration, I would like to see as well that the efficacy of the intraocular pressure, lowering efficacy of this medication is still the same as the others, prostaglandin. So this one is the paper has been made in Japan in 2011 to prove that this medication has ocular hypotensive efficacy and safety in normotension glaucoma by using normotension glaucoma patient around 44 patients and evaluate the intraocular pressure, lowering efficacy. And this one has to prove us that in this study, it shows the strong ocular hypotensive effects and safety for at least 6 months of the trial. How about the intraocular pressure lowering in ocular hypertension and POAG? So this one also they try as a multiple centers, use around 54 weeks or a year by using patients in POAG, NTG, ocular hypertension, exfoliation glaucoma, and pigmentary glaucoma in around 350 patients by using this trafroplos once daily. And the eye pressure lowering is quite effective. The best line mean of intraocular pressure is not that much, as you can see. So the intraocular pressure change around 6 millimeter of mercury is quite a happy number to me, though. So what am I doing in my practice? Because when I first used this medication, if you doubt about the intraocular pressure lowering efficacy, you can try this on the patient that used just only one medication first. And this is the patient, the female patient, 57 years old. She's an Indian lady who first diagnosis of the ocular hypertension in 2005, and she's been taking the fixed combination brimonidine timolol for twice a day. And once she's been meeting me, she met me in glaucoma clinic in 2008. Her intraocular pressure is around 24 in the right and 29 in the left. And because of her compliance that has been used this medication twice a day is impossible. So I changed her to latanoprost once a day. The intraocular pressure seems to be okay. It's 22 and 23. And she's been using this medication for 4 years at least. The hyperemia irritation with multiple drugs happens to her. Once the hyperemia start, I try to keep switching her from latanoprost to travoprost to lots of medication. And even though, and I finally come back to the brimonidine P, but she's still unhappy and cannot tolerate to any medication. This is her visual fundus photograph, which is still quite good. And also the visual function is still intact in both eyes. Also, the retinal nerve fiber layer thickness is still quite okay. So what I am doing is, I try to stop every medication at that time because she's very suffer to lots of medication. And I close monitor. Finally, her eye pressure is rising to 30 to 31, which is too much for me. So I do start this medication, which is the new medication at that moment. The eye pressure is come down to 23 to 24. The eye pressure lower around 25%. And finally, she's still taking this medication for at least a year or a year and a half, and there's no hyperemia or any irritation at all. I have to say that this medication answered me in lots of questions, especially in ocular surface problem. But around the intraocular pressure lowering efficacy, I have to say that it depends on each patient individually. So we could not tell any patients appropriate to any medication. But if you have to use this medication for a long period of time, you know that this patient is quite, I have to say, old, because this ocular surface is a problem of yours, even before you start the anti-glaucoma medication. So the one that you choose is probably the most ocular-friendly medication, which right now, we believe that the least BAK concentration is probably the best. However, if you start this medication, you have to also close monitor about the intraocular pressure lowering efficacy of this patient as well. Because if your patient not responds to prostaglandin, or if your patient still have any allergy to the BAK, this medication is probably not the appropriate one. But I believe that in most patients of yours, they will happy with this medication. If the eye pressure could not be controlled, you can try switch to the same group, I mean, in the prostaglandin themselves, in the other brand of the prostaglandin, because there's something in prostaglandin that is different in each one, and still can give your patient satisfied with the once daily medication. If you try this one, it will be the least BAK. It will be the least concentration of major ingredients. It almost BAK free, but of course it still have BAK. So you have to use it with the caution as well, but I do believe that many of your patients will happy with this medication. So let's try and let's see in the future. For the long-term research, is there any new concern or any benefit from this medication, such as increasing intraocular pressure, blood flow to the optic nerve, or increasing the neuroprotective effect, which is right now, we still need that in the market, but still no medication right now. So let's try and let's see in the future what is going on. Thank you.
Thank you.